90 minutes gone. 1 minute of added time showing on the board. The Jose Alvalade Stadium is tense, loud and fully alive. Sporting CP, unbeaten at home for 17 games, are holding firm. Arsenal have had the ball, moved it patiently, pressed carefully, and yet the goal simply will not come. Then Kai Havertz receives the ball inside the penalty area. Gabriel Martinelli has played him in with a pass of real quality. Havertz takes one touch to control it and with calm, composed feet slots the ball past the goalkeeper. Sporting CP 0, Arsenal 1. 90 minutes and 1 second played. That is how Arsenal secured one of the most important away results of their season. A late goal, a clean sheet and a 1-goal advantage to take back to the Emirates Stadium for the second leg next week. Here is how I see this. What you just witnessed in that moment was not luck. It was patience rewarded. Arsenal went into this game knowing Sporting had not lost at home since August. They knew the atmosphere would be hostile, the press would be intense and the space would be tight. Arteta set his team up to absorb that pressure and wait. When Havertz finished in stoppage time, it was not a surprise to anyone who understood the game plan. It was the plan executing itself. Let me be very clear about what was at stake tonight. This was a Champions League quarter-final first leg, away from home, against a side playing in a stadium that opposing teams simply do not win in. The last team to win away at Sporting before tonight was Porto, and that was back in August 2025. The last team to keep a clean sheet there was Borussia Dortmund, and that was February 2025. Arsenal came into this game on the back of 2 consecutive defeats. The pressure on Mikel Arteta was growing. Questions were being asked publicly about the team's character, their resilience, and whether this squad had enough to go deep in the Champions League. A poor result tonight, or even a draw without an away goal, would have given those critics significant ammunition heading into the second leg. A loss would have been potentially season-defining in the wrong way, but Arsenal delivered. And the way they delivered tells you a great deal about this club right now. And if you want deeper analysis on stories like this every single week, hit that subscribe button right now. This channel, Melissa Arsenal Analyst, is where you get the full picture, not just the headlines. Let us go through this story step by step because there are multiple layers worth examining carefully. First, the match itself and what the numbers tell us. At half-time, the score was goalless. Sporting CP had 5 shots to Arsenal's 3. Sporting had 2 shots on target, Arsenal had 1. The XG, meaning the expected goals figure, showed Arsenal generated just 0.09 in the opening 45 minutes. To put that in context, that was the second lowest first half XG Arsenal produced in the entire season. The only game where they created less in a first half was against Brighton in March, where the figure was 0.01. Let me break this down for you. That half-time picture was genuinely concerning from an attacking perspective. Arsenal had the ball, 52.1% possession at the break, 226 passes completed to Sporting's 209, but all that possession was sterile. They were not penetrating, they were not creating. Victor Gyökeres, their striker, had just 9 touches in that entire first half. 9 touches, that was the fewest of any player on the pitch. If you cannot get the ball to your centre-forward, you are not functioning as an attacking unit. Now let us talk about what changed and why it mattered. Mikel Arteta made a decisive substitution in the 70th minute. He removed Martin Odegaard, his captain, and brought on Kai Havertz. 6 minutes later, in the 76th minute, he made 2 more changes simultaneously. Gabriel Martinelli came on to replace Leandro Trossard, and Max Dowman replaced Noni Madueke. 3 substitutions in the space of 6 minutes. Arteta was not tinkering. He was restructuring his attacking unit entirely. Now, here is what this really means. This is where Arteta's management deserves serious recognition. He looked at a game that was going nowhere offensively and made bold, decisive changes. He removed his captain. He removed both of his starting wingers. He put on 3 players with directness, intent and energy. And within 20 minutes, the goal came. That is man management and tactical reading working in perfect harmony. Now let us examine the goal itself. Gabriel Martinelli picked up the ball and identified Havertz's run into the penalty area. The pass was perfectly weighted, cutting through Sporting's defensive shape. Havertz took the ball out of the air, controlled it in one movement and finished with composure. According to Opta, that goal was Arsenal's 4th Champions League goal this season. That was both scored and assisted by substitute players. That is the most by any team in a single Champions League season in the history of the competition. Let me give you my honest take on this. Think about what that statistic actually means. It means Arsenal have built a squad where the players coming off the bench are match winners, not fillers, not time wasters, genuine match winners. Havertz and Martinelli changed this game in under 25 minutes. That depth is not accidental. It is the product of squad building, trust, and a manager who knows how to use his full roster. Now let us talk about David Raya, because his performance tonight cannot be understated. Raya made 5 saves during the match. He kept a clean sheet. He completed 93% of his passes. His Who Scored rating was 8.58, and he was officially awarded the UEFA Champions League Player of the Match award. He now leads all goalkeepers in the Champions League this season with 7 clean sheets. Nobody else comes close. Kai Havertz himself spoke about Raya after the match. He said, and I want you to hear these words clearly, he is unbelievable. He is the best goalkeeper in the world. Outstanding. He has saved us so many times. We are so glad to have him. Here is the part most people are missing. Those are not just kind words from a teammate. That is a diagnosis. When your striker who scored the winning goal goes straight to talk about the goalkeeper as the reason the result was possible, you understand just how important Raya was tonight. Sporting had higher XG than Arsenal. Sporting had more shots. Sporting hit the woodwork inside the opening 15 minutes, along with Arsenal, making this the first Champions League game this season where both teams hit the woodwork in the opening quarter of an hour. Without Raya, this could very easily have been a Sporting victory. One journalist, Sam Dean, put it plainly after the match. He said he is increasingly convinced that David Raya is Arsenal's most important player, perhaps even ahead of Declan Rice and Gabriel. That is a significant statement, and based on what we saw tonight, it is difficult to argue against. Let us now look at the individual player performances and what they tell us. Starting from the back, William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes were both outstanding. Arsenal never looked like conceding from open play in any sustained, dangerous way. Sporting's best moments came from set pieces and individual flashes of quality, all of which Raya handled. Saliba earned a 7.5 rating on SofaScore and Gabriel earned 6.8. Together, they form one of the best defensive partnerships in European football right now. And tonight was another example of that. Here is how I see this. It is worth pausing here to recognise what Saliba and Gabriel have quietly built this season. Arsenal are the top-ranked team in the entire Champions League for goals conceded per game at 0.5 XG against per game at 0.75, shots on target faced per game at 2.7, and fewest minutes spent trailing at 42 minutes and 48 seconds across the whole campaign. Those numbers do not happen by accident. They happen because of this central defensive partnership and the goalkeeper behind them, Declan Rice. Let me give him the credit he deserves. Opta Joe revealed that Rice won possession 13 times against Sporting CP. That is the most by any Arsenal midfielder in a Champions League knockout stage match since Mikel Arteta himself did the same against Bayern Munich in February 2013. 13 years ago. Let me break this down for you. Rice tonight was, as one observer put it, effectively a one-man midfield. His partners in the middle of the park were not at their best. Zubimendi had a quiet evening. Odegaard struggled to influence proceedings before being substituted. Rice covered for both of them, intercepted, pressed, recycled possession and kept Arsenal organised. He was absolutely world-class in his defensive and transitional work tonight, and that is not something you say lightly. Now, the players who underperformed, Noni Madueke earned a rating of 3 out of 10 in the player ratings and was substituted in the 76th minute. He attempted 9 crosses during the match and did not complete a single one. 9 attempts, 0 successes. Alan Shearer commented during the broadcast that Madueke was not getting balls into the box quickly enough. Leandro Trossard also earned a 3 out of 10 and was substituted at the same time as Madueke. Trossard has now gone 19 matches without scoring. His lack of output in front of goal is becoming a recurring theme this season, and the evidence suggests the club will need to address this in the summer transfer window. Victor Gyökeres, Arsenal striker, managed just 17 touches across the entire 90 minutes. He had 1 shot at goal. For a striker on his return to his former club, it was a deeply frustrating evening, though much of the blame lies with the service he received rather than his own movement or effort. Now, here is what this really means. The 3 and 4 rated performances from Madueke, Trossard and Gyökeres are a genuine concern when you look at them together. All 3 are players in attacking positions who are supposed to create or finish chances. None of them did that effectively tonight. The fact that Arsenal still won, despite those 3 being so quiet, is a testament to the defensive structure, Raya's brilliance and the impact of the substitutes. But Arteta cannot rely on his bench to rescue games every week. The starters need to be more reliable. Now let us talk about Max Dowman, because this story is one that every Arsenal fan should be excited about. Max Dowman came on in the 76th minute as a substitute. In doing so, he became, at 16 years and 97 days old, the youngest player in history to appear in the Champions League knockout stages. BBC Sport confirmed and reported this record officially. Here is the part most people are missing. 16 years old, 97 days, playing in a Champions League quarter-final away from home in a hostile atmosphere. And by all accounts, he handled it with maturity and intent. His rating was 6.7, solid for a player his age in that environment. The fact that Arteta trusted him enough to bring him on in a tight match in this stage of the competition tells you everything about how highly he is regarded internally at the club. Dowman is not a gimmick. He is a genuine prospect being developed in real time at the highest level. Now, let us address the overall context of Arsenal's Champions League campaign this season, because the full picture is remarkable. Arsenal's complete Champions League record this season reads as follows: Athletic Club 0, Arsenal 2, Arsenal 2, Olympiacos 0, Arsenal 4, Atletico Madrid 0, Arsenal Slavia Prague 0, Arsenal 3, Arsenal 3, Bayern Munich 1, Club Brugge 0, Arsenal 3, Arsenal 3, Arsenal 3, Kairat 2, Bayer Leverkusen 1, Arsenal 1, Arsenal 2, Bayer Leverkusen 0, and now Sporting CP 0, Arsenal 1, 10 wins and 1 draw. Only one match where they did not win. Arsenal remain the only unbeaten team in the Champions League this season. Their run now extends to 11 games. Let me give you my honest take on this. Read that record again slowly. They beat Atletico Madrid 4-0. They beat Bayern Munich 3-1. They beat Inter Milan 3-1. They drew at Bayer Leverkusen and then won the second leg 2-0. These are not small clubs. These are giants of European football, and Arsenal have handled every single one of them. This is not a team scraping through. This is a team dominating Europe. Let us now address the Arteta press conference, because what the manager said after the match was revealing on multiple levels. On the game overall, Arteta said he was very happy because it was a big night for the club and a big night in the season. He acknowledged they wanted to be crisper in their play, but were pleased with the result. On the team's identity and character, he said the club talk about identity constantly and they are going to need that in crucial moments. He praised the players for showing exactly that. On David Raya, Arteta kept it simple. He said Raya is extraordinary and incredible, and with that it is enough. On Kai Havertz, Arteta was thoughtful. He said a lot of Havertz because Havertz has now done it. He has lifted the group and been part of something really important. On responding to 2 consecutive defeats, Arteta said the best thing you can do in a difficult period is observe. You see how players react, you see how they look at you, you see how they judge you. Do they start to criticise other people? He said he cannot be prouder to be at a club where all they do is ask how they can help. Here is how I see this. That statement from Arteta about the dressing room response to the 2 defeats is one of the most important things said after this match. He was not just talking about football tactics. He was talking about culture. He was talking about the character of his squad. When things go wrong at big clubs, the first reaction is often blame, criticism and division. Arteta is describing the opposite, a group that turns inward and asks how to help rather than who to blame. That kind of environment produces nights exactly like this one. On the game plan, Arteta confirmed that yes, the intention was to stop Sporting in the first half and win the game in the second. He acknowledged the atmosphere at José Alvalade creates real danger and that Sporting are a team who generate big problems. He said the plan worked and that things that depend on Arsenal are things they have. Let me break this down for you. When a manager comes out after the game and confirms the game plan worked almost exactly as intended, that is a sign of a highly organised, tactically disciplined team. Arsenal absorbed Sporting's first half pressure, kept it goalless, made decisive substitutions and won the game in the second half. Textbook away from home management in a European knockout tie. Now let's talk about Havertz himself, because this goal is bigger than just 3 points. Havertz missed a full year of football through injury. He had setbacks during his recovery. His confidence was questioned. His place in the team was questioned. And yet here he is, scoring in the 89th minute against Bayer Leverkusen in March and now scoring in the 91st minute against Sporting CP in April. Big goals, crucial goals, goals that win matches. BBC Match of the Day put the 2 moments side by side and called him the man for the big occasion, again for Arsenal. That is a reputation being built in real time, goal by goal. Havertz himself said after the match that scoring a late goal is always nice, especially in front of the fans. He acknowledged there is still a lot of work to do in the second leg, but said the team takes the result for sure. He also said, and this is the quote that will resonate with Arsenal fans everywhere, 7 weeks to go, we can win big titles and we are going to go for them. Now here is what this really means, those 7 words. We can win big titles from a man who has lived through injury, doubt and criticism this season, from a man who scored the winning goal in a Champions League quarter-final away from home. Those words carry enormous weight. Havertz is not fantasising, he is speaking from evidence. Arsenal are in the Champions League quarter-finals with an away goal advantage. They are competitive in the Premier League. 7 weeks is enough time to win something historic, and this squad on this form with this mentality is capable of doing exactly that. One final stat to close this analysis. Arsenal have now recorded 38 goal involvements from substitute players across all competitions this season. 24 goals and 14 assists from players who came off the bench. That is more than any other team across Europe's top 5 leagues, more than Real Madrid, more than Manchester City, more than Bayern Munich, more than Paris Saint-Germain. Arsenal's substitute impact this season is historically significant. Here is the part most people are missing. That number is the clearest possible evidence that Arteta has built a complete squad, not just a starting 11. And on a night where Madueke, Trossard and Gyökeres all struggled, it was the bench that won the game. Havertz with the goal, Martinelli with the assist. The bench did not save Arsenal tonight, despite the starters. The bench completed the job, the starters could not. That is what genuine squad depth looks like at elite level. Let me bring everything together. Arsenal travelled to Lisbon to face a Sporting CP side that had not lost at home in 17 games. Arsenal came in off the back of 2 consecutive defeats, with questions being asked about their character and resilience. The first half was tight, goalless and low on attacking quality. Arsenal generated just 0.09 XG in the opening 45 minutes. Gyökeres had 9 touches. Madueke completed 0 from 9 crosses. David Raya made 5 saves to keep the score goalless and give Arsenal something to build on. In the second half, Arteta made bold substitutions. Havertz came on, Martinelli came on, Dowman came on, making history as the youngest player ever in a Champions League knockout stage. In the 91st minute, Martinelli played in Havertz, who finished with composure to make it Sporting CP 0, Arsenal 1. Arsenal remain the only unbeaten team in the Champions League. Their campaign record stands at 10 wins and 1 draw from 11 matches. They head into the second leg at the Emirates Stadium with a 1-goal advantage, and the kind of momentum that comes from winning ugly in the most difficult of circumstances. This is what it looks like when a team has real identity, real depth and real belief. The second leg is next week. Arsenal take this result home. And if they play anything close to their best football on home soil, the semi-finals are very much within reach. This has been Melissa, Arsenal analyst. If you found this analysis valuable, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below with your thoughts on the second leg and share this video with every Arsenal supporter you know. The story is far from over and we will be here to break down every moment of it together.